Please teach the children, don't do that to horses. I don't know how hard it could be to figure out who's doing this. Sorry, the first thing I think of is juvenile delinquent, because when I was growing up, that was the term. You made that association. Hey guys, so a new story just out. Apparently, some kiddos, and that's not my word, that's the word of the police, believe that spooking Amish buggy horses is some sort of a game, a form of amusement. And when I say spooked, it's another word for being startled. Now, this isn't the first time that someone thought messing with the Amish is some sort of a sport or a game. I got a couple of things to say about this I'll share with you in a minute. But first to the story. There are a couple interesting things with the language used in this report that leave open a couple of questions here. This is from WFRV. Authorities in northwestern Wisconsin are urging parents to speak with their children after receiving multiple reports of juveniles jumping in front of Amish horses and riding dirt bikes close to them, startling the animals. It's dangerous, and someone could get killed in this thick traffic on our side streets, the department stated in a post. This is out of Frederick, Wisconsin. So Frederick is not a very large town. It's a little bit over 1,000 people. So it's not like they're doing this as the Amish buggies are passing through some sort of heavily trafficked metropolis. Nonetheless, that doesn't make it any smarter. Obviously, the local police department, which I have a couple of questions for, believe this is a potentially dangerous activity, and it's natural that it would be. Now let's take a look at the actual full message from the local police department, the Frederick Police. This was posted on Facebook April 25th. Hello, community. We have heard of multiple complaints of kiddos jumping out in front of Amish horses. That's an interesting word there, kiddos. More on that in a minute. And riding dirt bikes right next to them and scaring the horses. Please teach the children, don't do that to horses. Give them space. You would think common sense. Again, I don't know how old these kiddos are, but they need to be taught that apparently. Continuing, it's dangerous and someone could get killed in this thick traffic on our side streets. Also, our Amish community having a wedding the first weekend in May, so we will have their families going through town. Slow, double exclamation points. So there's an upcoming wedding, which could mean a ton of additional buggy traffic in the area. Good for this police department trying to get out in front of this before that. Horses being startled and spooked has been a common cause of Amish buggy accidents, sometimes fatal. Just to give you a few examples. In Branch County, Michigan, a 39-year-old Amish mother was killed when the horse was spooked by an oncoming vehicle. This happened in 2021. You had an Amish teen who was injured in New Wilmington, Pennsylvania, and the horse had to be put down when a garbage truck spooked the horse. And then another example, Forest County, Pennsylvania, this was quite a dramatic one. A horse spooking led to a runaway buggy situation where you had a 3-year-old Amish toddler on board the buggy. Thankfully, that little girl was saved by a brave Pennsylvania state trooper. So, what did you notice about these 3 examples I just gave you? Now, in each of those cases, none of those were intentionally spooking a buggy horse. So we've got some juveniles, or as the police department calls them, kiddos, deciding this is some kind of a fun game, using their dirt bikes to scare them, jumping out in front of them. A couple of questions I have here. How old are these quote-unquote kiddos? You know, when I think of a kiddo, I don't know about you, but I think of a child, I don't know, 8-year-old, 10-year-old, 6-year-old. I mean, very young person. I wouldn't think of a teenager. I wouldn't think of like a 17-year-old. It's not what I would call a kiddo. Now, the news report that I originally quoted here describes them as juveniles. So there's some conflict, there's some tension there between the 2 words being used here. Now, the fact that the police are having to appeal to the kiddos' parents in a public Facebook post, I don't know, also doesn't give me a ton of confidence. I mean, it's a small town. Wouldn't they just talk to them directly if they know who the kids are? Maybe they don't know who the kids are. Maybe that's the issue here. They're just getting the reports. They don't know who to go to. So, give them obviously the benefit of the doubt. But, just the fact that the parents need a public Facebook message to get that information, that doesn't make me feel super confident that it's going to get resolved. Hopefully it will. Now, Amish horses are trained to various degrees. Some horses are better than others. Some horses are more roadworthy than others. That's just a reality. Some of them can be more skittish and jittery than others and more susceptible to being spooked. All you need is that horse to jump out into an oncoming vehicle. It's why you shouldn't gun your engine if you're passing an Amish buggy, or honk your horn when you're passing an Amish buggy. So, and then you've got this reference to dirt bikes as well. Guys, I don't know dirt bikes, never ridden on one. I've seen people ride them around. I know I've seen, young or youngish children ride on them. You see 10-year-olds on these. I think you see children even younger than that riding like kids' dirt bikes. So a dirt bike is not necessarily just something a teen or, a juvenile would ride. That's the word from the article. When I hear juvenile, the first thing I think of is juvenile delinquent, because when I was growing up, that was the term, these juveniles. You made that association. Juvenile delinquent was the thing in the I guess in the 80s and the 90s. It was usually like a teenager that had gotten in trouble for whatever. When I read the news report, I think of a teenager, but when I read the police report, the use of the word kiddos, the appeal to parents for help, that suggests to me that this is maybe someone a lot younger than a teenager. So guys, I guess this kind of goes without saying, but hopefully these kiddos will knock it off, whether that's because their parents read this Facebook message and figure out it's their kiddos that are doing this. I mean, it's not that big of a town. I don't know how hard it could be to figure out who's doing this, but, hopefully these guys will have gotten the message and have knocked it off for the sake of the Amish people and public safety here, but also for the sake of those juveniles or kiddos. I mean, because you do not want to cause an accident just by doing some dumb things. I mean, when I was young, I did some dumb things, okay? I didn't go around spooking Amish buggy horses, but, I think most, let's say, guys, girls as well, did some things that weren't the wisest when they were teens or younger. Of course, that's part of growing up. So you don't want to do something that's going to have a permanent or potentially deadly effect that's going to impact a lot of lives. This is a little niche corner of America. And guys, but this is not the first time that Amish have been harassed. That's the other thing, too, I want to add here. We've talked about some crimes against the Amish, people targeting the Amish. We had an armed buggy robbery. We've had break-ins to Amish homes. But for some people in rural America, which is where the Amish live, the Amish are a source of entertainment. Not for most people, of course. But there is a history of stories of the Amish being harassed, whether it's when they're out on their buggies or riding bicycles or, even in their homes. So for some people, this is a form of entertainment. I don't know. People should know better. I feel like, going out and harassing people that are different from you is something from another era. I mean, we have a lot more entertainment than we did in the 70s and the 80s and even the 90s. Everyone's online anyway, but I guess some people are out there still doing this for fun. And whoever these kiddos, these juveniles are, I hope they get the message, cut it out, knock it off, and leave the Amish guys alone. Everybody's going to be better off for it. So let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks a lot for watching. Hit the like button, hit subscribe if you haven't done that already, and I look forward to talking to you soon.